We all have our faults. I mean, if you think about it, we all do things that could be considered wrong. And sometimes we find ourselves sitting in judgment of other people. Maybe it's something that they did, something they said, or even how they acted. You know what I mean? Maybe there's someone who's just being critical and judgmental all the time. They seem to take pleasure in criticizing others for everything they do. Or maybe it's the person who holds on to grudges, choosing to not forgive and instead focus on past hurts, mistakes, and failures. Let's be honest, we all struggle with this sometimes. But guess what? God doesn't want us to be like that. So let's look at Luke 6:37 together. This verse has some words of wisdom that can help us become better people, both towards ourselves and towards others. So let's get into it. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host. Here, we believe that the Bible is full of practical wisdom for everyday life. And so we've been going through the verses one by one. And here we are at Luke 6:37. It says, "Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven." Now, before we dive into what this verse means, let's quickly take a look at the history behind it. The book of Luke was written by a doctor named Luke. He was a close friend of Paul, and he wrote two books in the New Testament, the Gospel of Luke and the book of Acts. Now, the Gospel of Luke is actually the third of four Gospels, which are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They tell the story of Jesus Christ, his teachings, death, and resurrection. And the book of Acts tells the story of the early church after Jesus ascended to heaven. So let's break down what this verse means. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. First off, let's talk about the most famous part of this verse. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. In simple terms, Jesus is saying don't judge other people, and you won't be judged yourself. But what does judging mean? Well, judging means forming an opinion or making a decision about what you think is right and wrong about something or someone else. Sometimes it can be about deciding whether something is good or bad or right or wrong. Often when we judge other people, we assume that they should be doing things the way we think they should be done. But the truth is, everyone is different and everyone has their own path. We don't always understand why people make certain choices or how they see things, so it's not our place to judge them. Instead, we should try to understand their perspective and show them kindness. After all, we all make mistakes. But hold on, there's more to this verse. Jesus continues by saying, "Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned." What does condemning mean? Well, it means expressing a strong disapproval or making a strong negative judgment. It's like saying that what someone did is definitely wrong and they shouldn't do it again. Sometimes when we condemn other people, we might feel like we are better than them because we think that we don't do the same things that they do. But remember, we are all human and we all make mistakes. Even if we haven't done the same thing that someone else did, we have probably done other things that we shouldn't have done. And finally, Jesus says, "Forgive, and you shall be forgiven." This means that if we want God to forgive us for our mistakes, we should also forgive other people for their mistakes. Holding on to anger or resentment or a grudge doesn't help anyone, including ourselves. When we choose to forgive someone, it doesn't mean that we agree with what they did. It just means that we are willing to let go of the negative feelings that we might have towards them. Forgiveness is a powerful thing. It can help heal broken relationships and bring peace to our hearts. So these three parts of the verse, not judging, not condemning, and forgiving, are all connected. They teach us how we should treat other people and how we should deal with our own mistakes and the mistakes of others. Jesus was basically telling his followers to be kind and forgiving towards others because God is kind and forgiving towards us. He understands that we are all imperfect and he loves us anyway. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been judged or condemned by someone else? How did it make you feel? On the other hand, have you ever forgiven someone for judging or condemning you? If you found yourself being judged or condemned by someone else, it can be really painful, especially if it comes from someone you love or care about. It can make you feel sad, angry, or even hopeless. You might start to believe the negative things that they say about you, and you might feel like you can't do anything to change their mind. But remember, you are awesome and you deserve to be treated with love and respect. Just because someone else doesn't understand or agree with you doesn't mean that you're wrong. As for forgiving someone who judged or condemned you, it's not always easy, but it can be incredibly freeing. When you decide to forgive someone, you let go of the negative feelings inside of you. You choose to move forward with your head held high, knowing that you are better than any negative thoughts or actions that might have tried to hold you back. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had someone apologize to you for judging or condemning you? How did it make you feel? All right, let's apply this to real life. Imagine this. You're hanging out with your friends, and one of them makes a joke that isn't very nice about someone else. How do you react? Do you laugh along even though you don't agree with the joke? Do you try to change the subject? Or do you stand up for the person being made fun of? Remember what Jesus taught us in this verse. Don't judge, don't condemn, and forgive. Perhaps you could talk to your friend privately and explain why you don't like that kind of humor and encourage them to be more mindful of their jokes. By doing this, you're not only standing up for someone else, but also strengthening your friendship by having an honest and open conversation. Let's look at another situation. Maybe you're working on a group project and one of your teammates isn't doing their part. It can be frustrating when you're working hard and others aren't pulling their weight. But before you jump to conclusions, consider talking to your teammate. Try to understand why they might not be doing their work. Maybe they're struggling to understand the project, or maybe they have problems at home. Once you understand their side of the story, you can work together to find a solution. This approach, which involves empathy and understanding rather than judgment or condemnation, is not only more effective, but also reflects the values of compassion and forgiveness that Jesus taught us. Finally, let's imagine you've been wronged by someone you know. Maybe they spread rumors about you or broke your trust. It's natural to feel hurt and to want to lash out. But remember the words of Jesus, "Forgive, and you shall be forgiven." When you choose to forgive, you're not giving the person who hurt you a free pass. You're setting yourself free from the burden of anger and resentment. It's like taking off a heavy backpack that you've been carrying for a long time. By practicing forgiveness, you open the door to healing and the possibility of reconciliation. In each of these situations, instead of reacting with anger or frustration, take a moment to pause and reflect on the teachings of Jesus. Try to see the situation from different angles and practice empathy, understanding, and forgiveness. It may not always be easy, but the rewards of living a life filled with compassion and understanding are immeasurable. Remember this, my friends. God is rich in mercy, and He loves us no matter what we do. When we show mercy to others, we become more like God. So let's try our best to follow Jesus' teachings and be kind and forgiving to everyone around us. So here's what I want you to walk away with today. You are amazing, you are loved, and you are forgiven. Let's strive to create a world where understanding and forgiveness are more common. Let's put an end to judgment and condemnation. Choose to be kind, compassionate, and forgiving. Trust me, it'll make you happier. I have a question for you. Is there someone you need to forgive? Think about it. Are you holding on to anger or resentment towards someone else? Today is a great day to let go of those negative feelings and move forward with your head held high. Well, that's it for today, my friends. I hope this video gave you some insight and comfort. As always, please feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hey, if you know someone who could benefit from this message, go ahead and share it with them. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. God bless you.